Alrighty. Hello, it is week 7. Hard to believe that the time has flown by so quickly, but it has, and now we're here. For this week, we were focusing on substance abuse that can lead to, destructive behaviors. Um, Needless to say, you know, articles we read bring up valid points, and discussion board, and even my own personal experiences that kind of all can relate to this. So, um, in my own personal experience, kind of leading to what I mentioned last weekend, who I had a family member that had committed, suicide. Um, Part of their path to get to that point was through substance abuse. And in the one article that we read, where I forget what the article is called, but they talked about, the signs and symptoms of substance abuse. It's very true, where this person lost interest in, a lot of things in their life. They basically got, kicked out of school because of their actions. They had a passion for music, and that kind of went away. Their life became more centered around, the substances that they were using. And in that YouTube video, where like what opioid, addicts would want you to know about addiction, that very first lady, she kind of sums it up very nicely. And from my own personal experience, what I've witnessed, you start with something, more generic, and eventually it kind of takes you to a place where that high, you start taking, harder substances, stronger substances, and it leads you down this dark path, and you get to be hopeless to a point. And this person in my life, I was younger, but they were my family member, and just even in reflecting back, still see all that, and it's heartbreaking, put it lightly. But it's important we recognize these things so we can help people along the way get the help they need before, their substance abuse turns into an even farther along problem, or problem that there's no coming back from. So those additional resources that we had, from my own personal experiences, they really reflected well to what I've seen. Unfortunately, hopefully, as physical therapists, we can intervene on behalf of our patients if we start to see those patterns develop. In terms of the discussion board today, again, I kind of relate to that because I work at a clinic where we frequently see patients who show up under the influence of some form of drug. In terms of like what you would do with them, through the culture of the clinic, we continue to do exercise, and I still believe doing exercise would be the right thing. And thankfully, this clinic is more based towards higher level people to begin with. So even if they're influence of drugs, mostly, marijuana, they're not too impaired where they can't do their exercises. But, some people show up on, different drugs might have effects on different people, and the strength of the drug matters. So I could see where you'd vary some of the exercises or do more guarding, especially if they're even older, or they already had, some coexisting, gait abnormalities or weaknesses that they already have. It definitely varies, but I do believe continuing to do exercise is the right thing to do with these people. But I do believe it creates a discussion for the greater, impact of, especially in terms of marijuana, now it's become more acceptable in the state of Virginia. When should you do? You should use this drug before therapy, and I believe the answer would be, use it well before you plan to arrive to therapy, or use it after therapy as another way to kind of, help modulate pain. But I believe doing it shortly before therapy can impede with the therapeutic effects that we as therapists are trying to perform, as it can impede balance. It can impede cognition, drowsiness, just some things that come right off the bat. Like all those factors could essentially, make it harder for you to do your exercises or follow instructions, or, go through progressions. And they definitely impact learning, so you're not going to have as much carryover. And the whole point of therapy is to, eventually at some point being able to carry over what we're doing into your own life to not only reduce your pain, but reduce your risk for re-aggravation of whatever you may have. So I do believe, I personally wouldn't use, these medicinal drugs or these, illegal drugs even. But I do believe, especially if they're prescribed by a doctor, that they can have a place. It's just that you recognize that maybe these drugs can impede your ability to learn, impede your ability to participate, and do them at a point where being able to participate or learn would not be vital. And even if whether it's prescribed or unprescribed, I think that my stance stays the same. So I've been talking a lot, going over time. So thanks for watching. Peace.